Welcome back, everybody. This is Faye.
And this is Dolakwa.
And this is Terminal 234.
Woo!
Today, we have a very special guest. That might explain the sound effects from Dolakwa right there. We have a special guest with us on the mic. You want to introduce yourself to the people?
Hello, world. Hello, Terminalers. I don't know what your fan base is called.
We actually don't have a name.
You should have a fan base.
I know. We need a name for them.
My name is Ayo. I'm just here for the food and for the jokes. It's cool. Thank you guys for having me. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here.
For sure. And yeah, we definitely wanted Ayo on for the topic that we're discussing today, but we'll get to that a little bit later. We'll start with our normal quick hits for the week. Let's run it down. You guys know Dolakwa doesn't love politics, so I'll start us off this week. We're following up on last week where we talked about RBG passing, unfortunately, RIP to her. And since then, a nominee has been brought to the floor by Donald Trump. Yes.
Oh man.
He already told us like he was gonna have someone in a week. Like he's not wasting any time.
No time.
Just in case he doesn't get reelected. Which I mean, what else?
Wasn't it her dying wish? She said that she wanted the next president to select her, right?
Yeah. But you know who cares about dying wishes out here?
That's crazy.
With that said, Trump, like we just mentioned, has nominated Amy Barrett, I believe is her name.
It is.
She is a conservative judge, so no surprise there. He actually appointed her to one of the circuits. I believe it's the Indiana circuit. I can't remember for sure, but he appointed her earlier in his term. And so she's had experience on a bench of esteem, but now she's being nominated. There's a lot of pushback from the liberal side for obvious reasons. She's somebody that definitely rules for the conservative side in a lot of ways, whether it's affordable care or the right to choose or the Second Amendment, things of the sort. So if you're a Democrat, which I am unapologetically so, I'm not really very happy about this choice, but it is what it is. It's what we're dealt with, and we'll see what happens. She has to be confirmed by the Senate, but if you know, the Senate is majority Republican right now. So
has anyone ever not been confirmed? I feel like you always get confirmed.
Actually, that's a very good question. I don't know. I'm not that
because I feel like there's been people that have been nominated. They're like, oh, he raped someone and confirmed. So it's like, true. What's the? Yeah. It's like they just make a lot of noise about it. That's why I don't like politics. There's just like a lot of noise, a lot of stories, but it's whatever the president wants is going to happen when it comes to...
I mean, for the most part, you guys are not saying anything that's not true. It's just that typically, I know in years and years past, decades past, whenever somebody was nominated, they would be overwhelmingly confirmed. It was rare that it would just be such a slight margin. But ever since like the Clarence Thomas era and since, which that was, I think, like the first major sexual allegation brought against somebody of this like esteem or stature. So with that said, ever since then, it's like, okay, as long as we can get one more person than the 51 we need, then we're good. You know?
Yeah. No, so I guess we'll see what happens. Yeah. How quick is the process? Is it possible for her to be confirmed before? Yeah. Like, it's she should be at this point,
they
right?
Can do that.
Yeah, they can
do that.
As long as Mitch McConnell is like, here, vote everybody. It can happen. That's what Mitch McConnell.
So that means if you're a Democrat, the only thing you have left is to wish for other people to just to die. Like,
right.
So you need a Democratic president, and then you need like 1 to 2 people to like kick the bucket.
Yeah, but
because
like someone like
it's
Amy
lifetime,
is
right?
only 48, so the
not someone new,
anytime soon is not gonna happen. And
that's
then
just crazy.
The one before that, Brett Kavanaugh, is also pretty young. Like, a lot of these people that have been appointed in recent time are very young.
I mean, I think eventually we need to have a real conversation about why this is a lifetime post. Yeah. Like, I don't understand it. Nothing else is a lifetime post. Like, senators, they all have to go up for re-election.
4 years.
Like, why should you get this? Like, it just seems wrong, especially because like the way society feels and like our standards, like everything changes, and you have this old people deciding for us what we're like. Why should you be 80 something telling us what to do? Like, you're about to be gone. Like, it doesn't matter to you anymore.
Sickening. I mean, we're gonna move on from this pretty soon, but the last thing I'll say, I guess, to respond to that honestly, is because whenever the Constitution was created, they had certain things in mind, like making sure the bench, especially the highest court of the land, was pretty stable for
Which
periods
makes sense.
of time.
Which
so
makes
that's
sense,
kind of a huge reason why they would have long-term appointments. And with the idea of the Senate and whatnot being older, it's like a matter of we do elect these people. So it's not that like
they need to update that though.
They do.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be a cutoff.
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean,
Doesn't work
I
anymore.
agree with the idea of having stability because I can imagine if they have like every 4 years, they will literally just be changing decisions back and forth. Like,
Honestly,
literally, it's crazy because a new president is gonna come in and say, "I'm gonna undo everything the previous president."
That's
did."
what
It's
Trump
like,
did.
Yo,
It's like, what?
why are we going backwards? Like, let's just keep going forward.
Man.
So
speaking
I
of
can see
Trump,
it.
I read a headline last night. It said he wants to invest in the black community. 500 was it $1 billion or I don't remember. It was,
I don't remember the exact figures, but he did come out with his plan for the black people.
I was like, this man is doing anything for the vote right now.
Anything for the
It's
clout,
like a
anything
weird
for the
thing.
vote.
Like I don't even know what that means. Like
Yeah.
people like to say things. I was like, what does that mean?
It's empty promises
Yeah,
at this point.
like-
And he's trying to secure some semblance of a black vote, but
Well, he's
I
not
don't
going
think
That's
to at
crazy.
this
It's
point.
actually going to be followed
He
through.
should focus
Yeah.
on Hispanics. Those are the people that vote for him. No, that's like yeah, the
after the
better
wall,
chance, no?
after the wall, and they're just gonna vote for him.
Yeah.
But there's some like
Get this
very
man outta
staunch
here.
conservative Hispanics. So
Yo, let me
see
tell you,
the
I
obvious
went
point.
to when we went to LA like 2-3 weeks ago. Our Uber driver that picked us up from the airport was this Hispanic lady, and we didn't talk about Trump because I'm not trying to talk about Trump, but she was telling us how COVID is made up and like that's that whole conspiracy theory. I'm like, oh my god, and she's like, yeah, there's facts. I was like, there's no facts, there's no
There's
research,
WhatsApp facts.
and it's like just crazy because those people exist. Like you never,
Oh yeah.
you don't think about it till you meet someone that's like
Yeah.
that, and it's like,
yeah,
yo,
for
like
sure.
you really believe this, like,
Mhm.
and we're trying to like explain to her like, no, like think about this, and she's like, no. She's not listening to anything. So those are the people that it doesn't matter what you show them. Like they're gonna support who they're
Mhm.
supporting.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
So
But
yeah, we'll
moving
see.
on,
We'll see.
I guess speaking of Trump and his supporters, the Attorney General of, or actually not the Attorney General, the Governor, I believe, of Kentucky is a supporter of Trump. And that brings us to the Breonna Taylor case and the updates that have happened this past week.
Yeah.
Do you want to give us a little bit of background, Delapo?
Yes, I feel like we haven't really talked like in detail about it on the podcast. But essentially there are 3 police officers involved in her death. Only one of them is gonna be indicted, right? He's like the one officer that was like outside just shooting like randomly into the house, like without looking, basically.
Yeah. So I would be remiss not to say that officer is not really being charged with the death of Breonna or anything related
Right.
to that. It's more
Mhm.
about reckless endangerment of people that were in the apartment building.
It is, and also the reason that he's not being charged with the death, we have to presume, I don't know if they've actually said this, is that his bullets are not the ones that killed her. So it's like
The cops.
the one that was outside,
okay.
right? So basically, the situation is like for a quick rundown because there's a lot of misinformation and just crazy theories.
I couldn't catch the whole thing.
Yeah.
I kept reading different things. I'm like, I don't
So
even know what's
basically,
real.
what happened is the police officers had a warrant to go in, a no knock warrant, meaning they could just go in without knocking.
Mhm.
According to them, they knocked anyway, which doesn't really make sense because if you're allowed to not knock, why would you go
I
and
doubt it.
knock?
Yeah.
But they said they knocked anyway, and actually, I think the boyfriend said they did knock. So the boyfriend that was with her they heard the knock in, but it was really loud. You know how the police knocks on
But
the
the
door?
warrant was for the boyfriend.
The warrant was actually for the place. Because, the warrant is like for the house. Like, we're going to search this house because not her current boyfriend, her previous boyfriend was like the drug dealer.
The one on selling drugs. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, Breonna Taylor had like a boyfriend she was with. She left him and she was with a new guy. But the previous guy she was with was like a big time drug dealer. Like, he's in jail. So he basically kind of used her house as like as a stash house, more or less.
Okay.
So like that was why they were interested in her and the house. But she wasn't with him anymore. So they really had no reason to, but they didn't know because they didn't do a good job. But basically they went there, they knocked down the door because they said no one answered, even though they announced themselves, which, whatever.
Open for speculation.
Her boyfriend that was with her had a gun.
And he shot.
His story is he thought like it's her ex-boyfriend that's a
Uh-huh.
drug dealer
Yeah.
coming to like confront them. You can imagine if like you know that he's in your life.
Anybody. You just intrude into your home. Like,
Exactly.
Like,
And
He just
like,
thought it was an intruder.
he was an
Yeah.
intruder. So as soon as they broke down the door, he shot maybe a couple times, but he shot
He
first.
said once.
He shot
was one
at least
bullet.
once.
It was.
He shot once. He hit one of the police officers, and then so it was 2 of them that came in. The third one, for some reason, goes outside to the window and just starts shooting. So that's the person that's being indicted because he
During that
shooting
time,
crazily.
I will say there was like an ambulance involved because of
Yes.
the one guy that did get shot. Again, it's said that it was one shot. The guy got hit in a pretty major artery.
Right.
An ambulance was called, things of the sort. There was a little bit of chaos in that sense. But yeah, bullets were sprayed from the cops' side because they heard one gunshot and they decided to take matters into their own hands. And at some point, one of the cops kind of went rogue, decided to start shooting into the apartment building, even though blinds were closed, and he had no visibility in to see what was going on. He just decided to shoot. And we are where we are. All that being said, none of the police officers were held accountable. Mm-hmm. We will mention that, I guess a couple weeks ago now, the family of Breonna Taylor did win like a civil case for wrongful death. They got $12 million in that case. Mm-hmm. But in a criminal sense, for whatever reason, they didn't think criminal or wrongful death was at play.
So not to go too deep into the case, because I know it's a really touchy-feely thing, but it is important to know the details, because as much as we want justice, right? Like, I don't know that they can charge. For example, the police officer that had a warrant to go in. No, just listen. Okay. The police officer had a warrant to go in. He goes in. He's allowed, like, he's literally doing his job by the letter, as far as we know, unless we have new details. He's allowed to go in. He goes in. He gets shot. He's also allowed to then defend himself. Mm-hmm. So it almost like it's just a really sad situation above all else, that someone had to die in this crazy, I want to call it a mix-up, even though it's not really a mix-up, but just in this situation, it's crazy that someone had to die.
That doesn't, it's still negligence that she died, that she got shot. Mm-hmm. Any other occupation, you're going to get fired. Not only that, you might get arrested, you might get sued. Like, you can't let the cops go for, a mix-up.
Because nobody's saying that they should be held to like first degree murder standards. Like we're saying at the very least second degree manslaughter, which means, okay, maybe things went awry, things happened, whatever. But there were so many things at play that you could have done better as a cop based off of your training, that you just kind of let go to the wind because of whatever like you felt at the time.
I agree with the general premise. I think I just look at it just from the little information I know, as much as I'm believing it anyway, as the people that should be held accountable are not so much the officers that actually, like the two officers that actually came in and broke, because that's what they're supposed to do. It's more of the whole process of how do you get this mixed up? Like, you can't, like, it's too much of a mistake for you to, like, it's basically like you can't go to the wrong house.
I get what you're saying.
Let me help you here, though. I think the point is, I don't care about how you got to the end result. You got to the end result, and enough went wrong that you should be held responsible. Yeah. I don't really care to know more.
You got to.
You just kind of have to accept, like,
I completely understand it.
It's like if I put my protection and my well-being in your hands, let's say it's a doctor, or in this case a cop, and I'm expecting things to go by the book and how you're handling me, and for whatever reason it doesn't, I'm going to hold you responsible for
I guess
the end
no,
result.
Of course I agree with, I guess the part that I'm struggling with is what part was not by the book. Like, is there, like, maybe I just don't know, and I'm just not. For example,
you didn't need the no knock warrant, you knocked anyway. There's some confusion there. There's multiple pieces of evidence in terms of, like, the ambulance. I can't speak to it in particular. I don't want to misrepresent what happened there, but apparently something about the ambulance, you're supposed to keep the ambulance on ground.
She was shot multiple times.
Yeah.
I just said, like,
I don't even know that I need to be
it's like, yeah, like,
I mean, no,
there's just nothing. I don't want to even have to get into the weeds. Thank you, Ayo. Like, the person was shot multiple times. Like, the other party, nobody died. You said that she was fine, and she wasn't fine. She was dead at the time. Like, there's just too much in the sauce. And I
think we started talking about the governor. That's what we were talking about, right?
I did mention the governor.
Yeah, it was a governor, and I was just like, I didn't follow the whole story. Especially because, recently I've just been like just disassociating myself from like it's every like it's just a story after story after story after story.
It's a
lot.
Then
I saw the picture of the governor and his family. I'm like, oh well, okay, it makes sense. Yeah. Like he just it's just kind of disappointing to see like our black men or like people in power position just completely betray like where they came from or what they should be doing. Yeah. But
I agree.
It is what it is, man. At this point. I don't know anymore.
Super sad, super intense.
Rest in peace.
It is.
Rest in peace,
Rest
Breonna.
in peace, definitely.
Honestly, and to open this up, Delapo said we hadn't really talked about it, and we haven't delved super into the case. But a few weeks ago, I did mention that the Daily podcast has a very good couple episode series about this particular topic. So if you're interested in learning more about, the facts of the matter, the facts of the case, you're more than welcome to. And
the what is it called?
The Daily. It's a New York Times podcast. And there's 2 episodes, I think, about the case. And they're only like 30-minute episodes, but they go well into detail about it. And I mean, by the end of it, and on this podcast, I said, I don't think anything's going to happen. It is what it is.
Yeah, and I believe there's also a special on Hulu. I think FX and Hulu did something with the New York Times. So I think it probably is associated with that, but it's a video if you prefer video.
I didn't watch it. I just don't like.
Yeah, no, I didn't watch it either.
They have an RBG one too that just came out. I'm like, how do y'all get all this?
Yeah. I saw that they had that as well.
Yeah, I'm like, dang.
Yeah. I mean, the New York Times, I don't know. I don't really like to support any one thing, but I do. The little I see from them, I like. They seem to be, of course, not completely objective, but
y'all gonna have to pay for this advertisement. Daily, New York Times, hit me up.
Not really.
But yeah, now that we spent that much time on those past 2 topics, I guess we don't want to spend too much time on the next one, but I do want to talk about it because, I mean, honestly, like on the heels of the Breonna Taylor case, a lot of emotions were high. A lot of feelings were being felt about Black women and like protecting Black women. And just, that was the vibe. That was the energy on social media. But
and then what happened?
This man, Daystorm.
What'd you call him? Daystar.
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 There's actually a YouTuber, I think, named Daystorm. That's where I got that from. But anyway, this man, Daystar, a.k.a. Tory Lanez, decided
Wait, that's his real name?
Yeah.
Daystar, yeah.
It's a nice name.
We can't talk Nigerian.
No, like he decided to release an album. And honestly, I think what people were even more upset about outside of the album is that the day after, I believe, the Breonna stuff came out, he made an announcement saying, hey, I'm ready to talk. Meet me at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. That alone was a little questionable. Like, what are you doing at 9 p.m. West Coast time? Like, that's 12 a.m. here. Like, what's happening? Here, meaning East Coast. So that was questionable, but people just were like, oh, maybe it was a typo or whatever. But come about 11:55, he drops that.
That's when the album's dropped.
Releasing an album, yeah.
I thought it was a live. I thought it was like an IG
yeah,
live.
That's what we all
That's what he
thought.
should have done.
Well, we if anything, if you want to talk, that's how we want to hear you talk, not on wax, not from something you can gain from financially. Like, just speak your truth if you have.
To be honest, I think that if he's going to speak, even a live would not be enough because it's too serious for you to just be by yourself. Like, you need someone to interact and ask you questions that you have to answer. Because you could go on the live and just ramble on and not say anything. Like, you almost need someone that can ask the questions and be like, okay, but what about this? And what about this?
You can go
what
on
about
a studio
this?
And create a bunch of songs where you're rambling on and you don't really address anything, which is really what he did.
Did you listen?
I haven't listened. No, and I don't plan on it.
Yeah.
Did you?
I'm not gonna lie. I listened to it.
Okay.
The curiosity got the best. Got the best.
Okay,
got the best of me because I happen to be a Tory Lanez.
Okay, I was gonna ask you that.
Yeah, so I was like, I don't listen because of that, but just like, let me just see what he has to say.
Exactly.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was ready to watch the live, but that was because I didn't feel like I would be doing anything wrong by watching the live in the sense that I'm not paying for anything.
He had to say something. Like, we're waiting. Yeah. I think it was too long. He should have, been publicly apologized, said something.
Well, he still didn't apologize, from what I understand. He was trying to cap. But go ahead. I want to hear from you since
you listen. Exactly.
Well, okay. So he did say a lot of stuff about the situation. The whole album is essentially about the situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
What it sounds like was like the first. He had an album prior to the situation, then scrapped it and made like 10 new songs. And the whole thing is just about Megan, what happened. And he said basically he didn't shoot Megan as a setup.
He's being framed.
She was being jealous because Kylie was there and Kylie excited him. I don't know how Kylie Jenner excites you when Megan is sitting right next to you. I don't know how that happens. But, and I probably shouldn't say this, but like, if this scandal didn't happen to Tory, this is probably a good contender for album of the year.
Really?
It's a good album. I'm not gonna lie. Not because I'm a fan, but he's rapping his ass off in the wrong way.
Right.
He really calling shots at Chance the Rapper, like more. He was going for a whole lot of people, and like rapping wise, I was like, damn, like oh damn.
Yeah.
But
Well, I won't lie. I was a Tory fan too. Like leading up until all this mess. I mean, he had like an epic quarantine or like Corona era.
He had the biggest year, so like who wasn't a fan?
Who
like
wasn't a fan by the
I mean, like
time...
even just the names he's being mentioned, like he was with Megan Thee Stallion at Kylie's house like a year ago. Like it would make no sense to be like, huh? Like why?
So I think that part is the part that literally sickens me. Like one of our, I hate this term, but like Black Kings, if you will. I hate the term when it's used in such a cliche manner. Like I just said, but you know what I mean. Like one of our Black Kings, like just such a huge descent, and I can't even.
I think his career is done. I think that's was it for him. This is the last album.
I don't think so because people will continue to support. Like you said, if his music is good,
it's just not gonna be.
It's not gonna be the same.
He's not gonna be a superstar because he's not gonna be able to get like the endorsements, like things like that. He's basically out of luck for those. Like you can't put him as the face of your product. Yeah. But if he's making good music, like he'll still be able to make some money off of music. Whenever we can go outside again for real, like he'll probably still be able to do some shows. Yeah. It just won't be like as big as he could have been. Yeah. But he'll survive off of music because like we're all saying, like he's pretty talented. It's not like he lost the ability to make music now.
There are some weird accusations though about the best friend, Megan's best friend. Yeah. Like she might have been in on. I saw a couple posts floating around like Tory was saying stuff, and then the lawyer was like, "Tory is not lying. Like he actually didn't. Like I don't know. It was just a weird situation.
The whole thing is strange.
It's very strange.
It's so bizarre. I don't even know what to think, what to feel. All I know is until I have like unequivocal like understanding that this is like not a Tory shot Megan situation, I can't feel comfortable supporting the guy.
Yeah, I feel it.
That's how I feel about it.
And then, like I said, you have to come out with very specific, direct information. Like we don't want to hear it in your music because we don't want to have to support your music to know what happened. Like you owe us an explanation before we go back and say, okay, let's support that.
That's what you should have done. And then drop an album.
Yeah.
Not that I would have changed anything. It's still FM, but it's like, damn, it's such a no. Never mind.
Never mind. But since we're on music, let's just wrap quick hits up with our tunes of the week.
Yeah. Faye, you want to start?
Why do you always do this to me? Because you know I never think about it.
Ladies first, no?
Honestly, guys, I haven't been listening to new music recently. I have been listening to 2 albums on the reg this last week. Very different albums, but I'm an album girl. One is A Seat at the Table, a very big throwback, but I've just been feeling that album. Yeah, Solange. And then the other is Dua Lipa's album that came out earlier in quarantine. Like if you're a pop person, you will like it. It's like retro 80s vibes. Like if you liked anything about The Weeknd's album and like the throwback feels of it all, you might like this Dua album. So.
It doesn't sound like me at all.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like me.
But good to know.
It's like Nostalgia Ultra, I think it's what it's called, or something like that.
Okay. I like that.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Are you ready or should I go?
Oh, I have to play the song?
No. Just
he'll handle it.
Does it have to be a new song?
No.
It could be anything.
Any song that I like?
Yeah. Anything you've been listening to recently.
That I've been listening to recently. There's a song I really like by Victoria Monet.
Oh okay. This is her 3rd tune of the week.
For real?
I did it like
I talked about. I just kind of found out about her.
Go ahead. No.
I mean, people just know like she's really good.
I like her album.
We love Victoria on this pod. Yeah. Jaguar is dope.
I was gonna pick Jaguar, but actually I'm gonna change it now because you know what? My fiance really got me into this song. It's "Jollof on the Jet" by Cuppy. I'm not the biggest Cuppy fan.
Yeah.
But this is I'm not gonna lie, that's one of the best songs dropped this year.
Listen, Cuppy is like one of those people that like you can laugh at her and be like, I don't know what your talent is, but she makes good songs.
She can make some good songs.
Her songs are always like you don't want to like it, but you're like, this is kind of good.
Yeah, it's a really good song. Jollof on the Jet. Yeah.
I like it. Okay. My song is a Fireboy song, Fireboy DML featuring Wendy Cole. It's called Spell off of his album. It's a really good song. The album wasn't as good as the first one, I think, but it's still Fireboy. It's still good. Yeah. So
Fireboy is also a repeat offender.
We love Fireboy. Everyone loves Fireboy, really. Yeah. If you don't love Fireboy, we have problems.
I saw him live in Nigeria.
Yeah?
Oh, did you?
When the... he played scatter and then the stage fell. It was really fun.
That's actually perfect. Like if the stage is gonna fall, like
it
that's
has to
the
be
song.
On that song.
Yeah. Right. Everything truly scattered. Like.